Jay Richards with the Discovery Institute, and I'm here at the COSM 2019 conference in the Seattle area, joined by Bryan Mistele, who's the founder, CEO, chairman, president of the INRIX Corporation that's actually here just a few miles away, right, in Bellevue. Bryan, thanks for joining me. It's good to see you. And you're also a board member of Discovery Institute.
That's right.
For many years. And you were on a panel talking about the future of, well, self-driving or autonomous cars, whatever we want to call them. I mean, what do you think is the key misconception that people have about this technology?
Well, I think the biggest misconception is that it's just about autonomous vehicles. That you'll go to a dealer, you'll buy an autonomous vehicle.
Right.
That's not really the vision of what people in the industry are pursuing. It's about what we call the ACEs: autonomous, connected, electric, and shared, all working together to deliver basically mobility as a service.
So what do you think, are these going to come online at different times, these four components? Is one, the sort of self-driving part, is that the one that's the farthest out, and we've got maybe the electric part that's happening sooner? I mean, how do you see this washing out?
Yeah, so certainly shared is already here.
Yeah.
You look at the number of trips that are happening by shared vehicles, that's already increasing. Electric vehicles, you have almost every single automotive manufacturer shipping an electric vehicle at some point in the next 18 months.
Wow, okay.
Then connected vehicles, you already have about 25% of vehicles on the road today.
So you're talking about vehicles that are communicating either in the cloud or with the dealership or something like that?
That's correct.
Okay.
Communicating from the vehicle to the cloud, transmitting and receiving information.
Okay.
So autonomous will actually be the last of the four trends in terms of mass adoption.
And so how do you anticipate us experiencing this? Because I talk to a lot of people about this. The problem is the language, autonomous vehicles. We've all seen some movie, right, in which a car gets away from its owner or something like that. And so that's what people are imagining. I mean, how are we actually likely to experience this?
It's likely just an automated Uber. So when you go from point A to point B in an urban area, it'll basically take you from where you need to go. From where you are to where you need to go. Primarily initially in the major urban areas, so New York, San Francisco, that are well mapped, well defined problems.
Okay.
It'll be a long time until you have vehicles that can drive 100% of the time on any conditions, gravel road, things like that.
So what about long haul trucking?
Yeah, I think actually that's one of the most promising opportunities is basically, you already have a couple of different companies that are focused on delivering basically long-haul trucks autonomously across the country. And then when they get into an urban area, a driver or even a remote drone pilot will take it into the loading dock. I think that you'll see in the next 2 to 3 years in production.
So the driving on the highway, I mean, it seems like a much easier problem, right? Okay, so that's the idea. Whereas, I mean, I would imagine driving a car around downtown Seattle or something is going to just be a tougher nut to crack ultimately.
Well, the difference of an urban area is they become very well mapped, right? The key is, do you know where the street signs are? Do you know where the stoplights are? How well mapped is that area? So these pilots from Uber and Lyft in urban areas, I really do think those will be the first autonomous vehicles that most people will ride in. Because those problems are relatively understood.
Well, and then also sort of dedicated routes, would you expect that?
Dedicated routes, in fact, you already have today autonomous shuttles in about 12 different cities in the United States.
Right.
And you have fully autonomous vehicles in retirement communities in Florida, for instance, where they're basically taking retirees around the community. Again, very small, well-mapped, well-understood problem.
So you feel like this technology, is this going to be a benefit to humanity and to the United States ultimately?
Yes, certainly, because it reduces the cost of transportation. It ultimately is safer. About 75% of accidents are human caused or human error. So you end up with safer transportation, you end up with more convenient and more cost-effective transportation.
Well, we also have all these cars that most of the time aren't doing anything. I mean, that's some kind of waste. I really do think the human cost in terms of death, that's the biggie. That's the most important one. But just the sheer waste of resources in cars that are most of the time not doing anything, I think is a big deal too.
Oh, sure. Think about your urban area. You have parking garages every block or every other block. You've got on-street parking. If you can basically increase the utilization of a car by having it shared and having it be autonomous, you can dramatically change the landscape of the city and have much more effective land use, much more throughput in terms of the roads themselves.
So what would you say what are the main impediments to this? Is it regulation? Is it technology? Is it something else?
Well, I think regulation is a big issue because nobody has really figured out how to license these vehicles for production use. There's pilots going on, but the production use on public roads is a bit of an issue. I think that's number one. Number two is the expectations, right? Again, if you start small with limited routes, kind of defined routes, those type of things, this gets to be a definable problem. It's the expectation people have that I'll be able to have an autonomous vehicle drive me anywhere, anytime, any weather condition.
Right.
That's where we're a fairly long way away from that.
Okay. Bryan, thanks so much.
Great. Thank you,
Good
Jay.
to see you. Absolutely. This is Jay Richards at COSM 2019.